Alright, let's take a look at this web application architecture first. This web application consists of 3 tiers. To make this application appear on the browser, we're going to use React.js for our client-side framework. Also, to handle the HTTP requests from the client side and to request the data to the database server, we of course need an application server. So we're going to use Node.js and Express.js to handle these jobs. And finally, we need a database where we can manage the user data, such as creating, reading, updating, and deleting the data. So we'll use MongoDB and Mongoose for the database server. To build this web application, we both need to work in backend and frontend. So we're going to work with backend side first. Then once we finish building all the logics in backend side, we will start building client side with React.js. Alright, now let's take a look at the steps how we're going to build the REST API. This web application will follow MVC, Model View Controller, because it keeps the code more modular and readable. So first of all, we're going to create an Express server, then we'll set up routes for register, login, logout, and some more. The next thing I want to do is setting up controllers for all the routes that I just created, and then test it with Postman. For the next step, I'll connect the MongoDB to the server and create user schema and user model. So these 3 steps that I just mentioned will be the first phase to build the REST API. From the second phase, I'm going to create more detailed logics in controllers for all the routes we created. I'll explain more detail once we finished writing all the code for the first phase. So without further saying, let's get our hands dirty. Alright, now I am in my Visual Studio Code here, and what I would like to do first is I'm going to setting up the Express server. So I'm going to do first is npm init-y first. So if you do this, you're going to see a package.json here. And now let's create, first thing first, I'm going to install the 2 modules. So npm install express module and .env first. All right. The reason why I install the .env and express is because, first of all, the .env is like .env helps you hide your really private information such as API key or the port numbers. And also the reason why I install the Express module is because I need it to setting up the Express server on my app, so that's why I did it. So all right, the next thing I want to do is I'm going to create index.js file. All right, so let's do this. All right. Now, and one more thing. What I want to do is I'm going to create one more file, which is getignore. Okay, so these are pretty important settings for me. So what I'm going to write is node modules to ignore all these modules here because they are too big. So, and then the next thing I want to do is one more thing. Touch config.env. So, all right, config.env. I'm going to ignore these 2 files, config.env and node modules folder. Okay, that's what I would like to do. All right, the next thing I want to do is, let me see. All right, and base setup on index.js or server.js. You can change this JavaScript file name to index.js or server.js. Usually, I always change the base file name to server.js because we're creating the server right now. So server.js, and also I'm going to change it to server.js. And also, if you see the package.json, I'm going to change the scripts for the npm for the start. I'm going to change it to node server.js. Okay, and also for the development environment, I'm going to write a dev and nodemon server.js like that. Okay, I think we're good to go. Okay, so in server.js, we're going to require express require express. But first thing I always do is I always require the .env, and then the config, the path. So config.env, there you go. And also const app, we're going to invoke the express, and then we're going to use the app.use express.json for body parts later. And then we're going to set the port number. So port number should be process.env.port, or, okay, there will be or logical operator, or 5000. That's what I want to do. And then if you move to config.env port equal 5000. I'm going to set this like that. All right, and then we're going to set app.listen port, and I call the function here log server. Server is running on port. There you go. And now let's run this server. Here, okay, npm run dev. Let's try it if it works. Uh-oh, there's a problem here. Oh, process. There you go. There's a typo here. So process.env.port, and let's rerun it again. And as you can see, server is running on port 5000, which means our server is running successfully without any problem. I think we're good to go for the next step. All right, so our express setting up has done. All right, now let's move to create routers and controllers. All right, before we further do, first of all, I want to create a new folder, which is called backend, and then I'm going to create new folder again, source. Okay, in the source folder, I'm going to create controllers and new folder. What is that? The routers. Oh, wait a minute. No. Oh, I need to create the folder in source folder. So routers. Okay, there you go. And then I want to move to the server.js to the source folder. Okay, into source. All right, there you go. So we have to modify this script. So node, and then backend source server.js. Of course, the same backend source server.js. And now let's rerun our server, npm run dev, if it works, see if it works. All right, it works perfectly, there you go. All right, so now what I would like to do the next is create register routes, login routes. All right, let's just create register and login routes first. All right, so in the routers folder, I'm going to create a file which is called users.js. Okay, and also in the controller folder, I'm going to create a new file, auth.js. All right, so in the users.js, okay, so since we're going to use the router, so we're going to need, first of all, we're going to need express, require express, and then we're going to create router, new express.router. This should be capitalized like that, okay? And then, all right, I think we're good to go. So router, oh, and one more thing. This is most important. I sometimes forget to write module.exports for router. Okay, and now we're good to go. So since I'm going to use the MVC model, so I just write it simple, pretty simple. So router.route, and then you just set the route here. So this is like, what is that? The register route, so register, and then we have to use the post method. So post, and then I'm going to write down function here, but the function will be written in the controller, auth.js. So let's create a function here. So so first thing first, export default. I'm sorry, it's not default. Export. What was that? Okay. So exports dot signup is equal to request response, and then let's just write down the res.json to see if it's success. True. Okay, and also for the login routes, we're going to write down the login and the res.json success true. All right, I think we're good to go. And then we have to import it. Const sign up login wait a minute, let's take a look. Sign up login and require in controller. So control. I'm sorry. It's right. Controllers auth.js. So what I would like to do, you just add it here. Sign up, and then for the same for the login route. So login and then login. All right, there you go. And then the most important step is you have to call it in server.js. So, all right. App.use. Okay, so I'm gonna make it like API auth, and then what I would like to do is port. Okay, and then you can just write it like const user route equal require routers users, and then for the second argument you can just use a route like that, or you can just directly like use require / routers and users, just like that. But I'll just all right, which one looks better? Both are fine, but I'll just do the user route like that. Okay, so we just created routers and controllers, the base setup. So how do we see if they run successfully? So first of all, we're going to run the server npm run dev. So see, okay, the server is running, and then what we're going to do next is we're going to open the Postman to see if it works. Okay. All right, this is our Postman here. Okay, I need to close them, and then I'm going to create a new collection. Okay, which is called the oh no, dismiss. So user auth demo. Since I'm creating a demonstration video, I'm just name it as user auth demo, and then create. And then there you go. You're going to need to you're going to want to add a request here. Okay, so what is that? The create user. Just name it like that. Create user. Okay. And then since we are using the post method here, so we need to set the post and the URL. Okay, let's see the URL. Since our server is running on port 5000, so http localhost 5000. And what is the address? First of all, if you see the server.js, we can see API auth, API/auth, and then which route you want to use. First of all, I'm going to test it with register route. So register, and then I'm just save it. Okay, since our server, oh wait a minute, waiting for file changes before. Let's rerun it again. Okay, and then, all right, let's test it. So if it works, if the routes and controllers work successfully, then we're going to see this message in here, response. Okay, now let's hit the send the button. There you go. All right, now you can see success is equal true, this message, which means they work perfectly. And also let's check the login routes too. So login. Okay. All right, you can see success true. So that means we have built the Express server and routers, controllers successfully. All right, now the next thing I want to do is setting up the database. Okay, for the setting up the database, what I would like to do is, first of all, let's just turn off the server, and all right, and we're going to need to create a database folder, which I'm going to name it DB, and I'm going to name it like mongoose.js. Okay, so in the mongoose.js, we're going to need to use mongoose. So we got to install the npm I mongoose. Okay, there you go. All right, and then we're going to write down some code about the mongoose to connect the database. If you are curious about how to connect the database, to the server, you can just check the Mongoose document here. So as you guys can see here, we get a require mongoose, and then we're going to use mongoose.connect. Okay, so what we have to do first is, all right, before we go forward, let's check the if mongoose is installed correctly, successfully. So you can see in the package.json file, you can see mongoose package here. Okay, which means we can use mongoose. Okay, so const mongoose require mongoose, and then you can just write down the mongoose.connect and URL with the directly, but what I would like to do is I'm going to use it as async await. So const connect db equal async, and then I'm going to write down await mongoose.connect, and then I'm going to write down the URL here. Okay, and some before currently the version, the mongoose version is 6.0.6. So I think we don't have to write all the deprecation warnings here. Usually, I always write these deprecation warnings before for the second arguments. But I think we don't have to do that. Okay, so let's just skip this and let's just focus on this URL here. Okay, so what is the URL? So we're going to write down the MongoDB URL here. So how do we know the MongoDB URL then? Since I'm going to use the MongoDB atlas, I just logged in MongoDB Cloud atlas, and then I'm going to, where is that? Connect. I'm going to press this connect button. Okay, and then you can see some options. I'm going to connect my application, and then you can see there is a URL here. So I'm going to copy and paste. Okay, so you can just literally copy and paste in this string, in this string, like that, and then you can just set the password in the database access. But I don't recommend this way. What I usually do is I'm gonna set this in the config.env. So I'm gonna set it like mongo URI equals, and then okay, I'm gonna write down the MongoDB URL in this config.env because there is a password here. So, all right. So, and then what I got to do next is I just write it down here: process.env env.mongo URI, because the name here in this file is mongo URI. Okay, mongo URI, and then mongo URI too. But here's the thing. We gotta require first. Require, oh, okay. Oh, no. Okay, so where is it? So I'm just gonna copy and paste this one, and then there we go. Oh, and then of course, one thing we must not forget is we have to, of course, export this connectdb2. So module.exports equal connectdb. Okay. Okay, so there we go. And then, oh, and you know what? I just forgot to do something. All right, when you use async await function, you have to write try and catch. So try and catch, so error. So if it works successfully, okay, I'm gonna await mongoose.connect here, and then I wanna see a message, console.log MongoDB connected. And also, if we have an error, I wanna see the error here. Where is that? Error message. Okay, so, oh, and one thing we have to set this password here. So basically, you can just set the password here in our MongoDB database access. Okay, database access, and okay, edit, and you can see this password here. But if you want to see edit password, and then you're going to auto-generate, you can just write down your password here like that. Okay, like for example, blah 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 blah, and you can just copy and paste, or you can just auto-generate secure password like that. Okay, oh no. Okay, let's just see it again. Auto-generate, show. Okay, you can just literally use this one. I'm going to use this one, but after I finish creating this demonstration video, I'm going to change the this password because somebody can hack it. So, all right, let's just copy and paste this password here. And and then the most important thing is update user. If you don't update, it wouldn't work. So update user, there you go. Okay, and I think we're good to go. Oh, and the next step I want to do is, all right, since we connect DB here, okay, I gotta invoke it here. Okay, const connect DB require, okay, let's require the database mongoose.js, and then connect DB. Let's invoke it so it can work. All right, now let's take a look at this. npm run dev. So if the server is running successfully, we're going to see the message server is running on port 5000, and also if the database works perfectly, successfully, then we can see this message, or we can see an error. Okay, let's run it. Okay, server is running on port 5000 and MongoDB connected, which means our MongoDB database setting up has been done successfully. All right, but there's one thing I want to modify here. All right, so far everything works perfectly, but I want to just add one more thing. Since we're going to deploy this web application to Heroku later, we have to change this port some settings. So what I would like to do is I'm going to create a new folder which is called config, and then I'm going to create 3 files. One is key.js, and the other one is for prod.js, which means production, which stands for production, and the other one is dev.js, which means for development environment.js. So what I would like to do next is, so I'm going to set it later the environment. So if process.env.node env is equal to production, okay, I want to set it, I want a module.exports. I want a module.exports require, okay, if it's production state, then prod. Otherwise, else module.exports require dev. Oops. Dev. Okay, but here's the thing. I need to write down another code in prod.js. So in prod.js, I'm going to export module.exports. I'm going to export module.exports. Mongo URI is process.env.mongo URI. This is what I want. To use this process.env, we need to invoke the, what is that? This .env. So there you go. And then in the dev.js, okay, it will be pretty similar. Module.export equal Mongo URI. We can do this like that, and we're going to ignore this file too. So where is it? Okay, so dev. This is not one. Git ignore, in the git ignore dev.js. Okay, so let's just see. No, not this one. Initialize repository here. Okay. As you guys can see here, we can never see dev.js here, which contains our Mongo URI. Oh, I'm sorry, and this should be changed to colon. Okay, so I think we're good to go. And in mongoose.js, I'm going to change it to, instead of process.env.mongo URI. It's good, but I would rather const config that require, okay, dot slash config and key. So I'm going to make it like, okay, config.mongo URI, okay, because if we are in the production environment, then it's going to work. It's going to invoke this Mongo URI. Otherwise, since we are in the development environment, so it's going to bring this Mongo URI. Okay, so let's try it. Let's rerun our server. Okay. npm run dev again. So, okay, the server is running on port 5000 and MongoDB connected. All right. So I think we have done the phase 1 very successfully so far, and now let's focus on the control logics. Let's focus on logics and controllers next.